Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We welcome you all back to our show, as well as tuning in through our online affiliates around the world. We're glad to have all of you with us as well. I'm excited to welcome Diana Goldman to our program today. Diana is an individual who's been known for not only her singing, songwriting, but also her life as an actress as well. We're going to talk to her about her love of the arts, what it's been like for her to share that with all of you, and also something else that we talk about a lot on this program, because a lot of us know what it's like to have something we want to do, but when we're faced with challenges, then the decision has to be made. We'll talk to Diana about how she's been able to face challenges that she's had in her own life, and also how that can be inspiration for all of us as we're looking at our own goals and dreams. If you're just not hearing about Diana, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can be able to stay connected with her. But Diana, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hi, Cyrus. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, look, I appreciate the time. One of the things I thought about when I was prepping for your segment, Diana, is that I think that all of us, especially as we're wrapping up one year and preparing for the other, we know what it's like for us to have an idea of what we want to do in our lives, and, of course, life then happens and kind of derails everything, it seems like, and then making the decision, okay, is our goal or dream, worth pursuing, or are we going to go backwards? You seem to have this real resilient spirit that you've been able to have in your life. What has it been like for you to not only to know what you want to do in life, but also to not allow challenges to stop you along the way?
Well, it's interesting because when you, as you mentioned, having a passion, it's really the arts are the thing that gives me the greatest joy in my life, bar none. And it's almost as necessary for me as for many other artists as breathing is. So despite challenges, it's not even a question of do I give it up or do I continue to pursue it. It's something that I literally need in my life to exist. Otherwise, my existence becomes very shallow and empty. So it really, truly is a passion for me, both the singing and the acting and being creative.
Right. And it seems like music was introduced to you early in your life, Diana. I mean, do you think having that support system around you early is also one of the things that helped to feed that flame of excitement for the arts?
Absolutely. My mother in particular has a remarkable talent musically, and she's also an incredible artist and sculptor. So I've got two sisters, and for whatever reason, she decided that the girls had to have musical training. I've also got two brothers who sadly were left out of that, but I think it was just the thinking at the time. So she had us start taking piano lessons at the age of 6, which, of course, at the time, wanting to be outside and playing with my friends, had to practice for at least an hour a day and was a little bit resentful of that. Now I could literally kiss her feet for forcing the issue because it became something that I adored. Practicing scales is not the most fun thing to do. I would much rather have been just creating and playing my own stuff. But you do need to learn the basics and become proficient before you can be good at anything. So it's that 10,000 hours scenario where you really need to work at something. So I am very grateful for that. And also my parents loved listening to music, and my first albums that I would put on and listen to as a child were the show tunes from Oklahoma and The Sound of Music, and I would sing along, and I found that to be actually fabulous vocal training. So very, very grateful for the introduction at a very young age of both art and music. Yeah.
Right. And I think, to be able to have that as a foundation as you're going throughout life, I think has to be so neat for anybody. Diana, how important was it for you? Because I always, I tell people I did not have, in my immediate family, I did not have individuals who were involved in the arts, but they were definitely supportive of me, and that has helped me in my life. How important was it for you, even though you were around creativity and everyone had their own gifts, for you to be able to define your own unique gift, your own unique voice?
Well, again, it was vital. I was one of those annoying kids that continued to put on little plays and sang songs for anybody that would listen. and force people to sit down and be an audience for that. So I was always a ham right from the get-go, and interestingly also painfully shy outside of that. When it came to anything other than performing, I was incredibly shy about getting involved in conversations. And the truth is, with regard to pursuing the acting and singing as a profession, excuse me, it wasn't something that my parents were too thrilled about. They were glad that it was a hobby, as they called it. But, of course, there's always the concern as parents that your child won't make a living. So they wanted us to be educated and to pursue something that would provide a steady income, and there would be no question as to making money or not. So when I said that this was something I wanted to do full-time, of course, the discouragement started happening, which is unfortunate. But again, I pursued the singing and acting despite that because, as I mentioned earlier, it's something that is vital to me. It's something that I absolutely have to have in my life, or I would feel half dead as a result. So I was going to do it come hell or high water.
Yeah, well, and, I think the great thing about that is to be able to have that type of resilience means so much. Could you have imagined, Diana, and this is one of the things I thought about in different aspects of your life, could you have imagined that you would be an example for others outside of your talent? And what I mean by that is, of course, people would recognize your gift as a singer. They would recognize your gift as an actress. But just the way that you handle yourself in life, could you have imagined that would show other people what they could do in their own lives?
Being an inspiration for other people, in fact, I think is the most gratifying aspect of living. If I can encourage someone else or inspire someone else to pursue their dreams or to overcome adversity, I honestly think there's nothing more valuable than that. And you mentioned adversity, and that leads me to, I guess, get into the topic of the cancer that I experienced about 8 or 9 years ago. It was thyroid cancer. It was a more virulent type, but if you're going to get cancer, they tell me that's the best place to get it. There's the greatest opportunity for cure for that particular type. But I was warned going into the operation to have my thyroid removed that the nerves to the vocal cords run right through that area and that there was a chance that they might be damaged. And, in fact, they were. Thankfully not to a huge degree, but when I woke up from the operation and I was able to speak, but I was completely unable to sing. And that was terrifying because obviously as a vocalist, songwriter, singing was a vital part of my life. So I think I spent a day in abject terror and despair and then quickly pulled myself out of that and said, okay, I don't care what it takes. I am going to work to get my voice back. I refuse to believe that this is going to be a permanent situation. And it literally took me 2 years. It was months and months before I could sing even a single note. And when I did, it didn't come out very well. So I found that my range, once I was able to sing again, we're now into about 1.5 years of working on it, my range was greatly diminished, and even my ability to hit notes properly was remarkably difficult. I would tell my vocal cords to hit a note, and they'd go off in some other direction. So, again, I didn't give up. I continued to work on it. I worked with vocal coaches who familiarized themselves with this particular type of throat damage. Anyway, I'm happy to say that not only did I regain my singing voice 100%, but I actually went beyond what I was able to do before because of working with these coaches, and I now have a far greater range and far greater abilities than I did before. So I simply never gave up. That's the bottom line. Just be optimistic, have hope, keep working on it, don't despair, don't give in to despair, and keep moving forward. So I'm very, very grateful that I had that attitude. But you do have to grieve and despair for a little while. You have to allow yourself to do that.
Right. I want to talk to you more about that, about the facing of fear, Diana. But I want to first say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Diana Goldman to our program today. Diana is a singer and an actress who's been able to not only do what she loves, but also to share her gift with others, and also, even as she's doing here, share her story with others as well. You know, the facing of fear, it's really become a running theme on this program this year in particular, Diana. I think because there's so many people out there who allow fear to stop them, the fear of what other people, tell them, what they tell themselves. How did you, when you woke up, how did you not allow fear to stop you after the surgery and after that first experience of trying to sing?
Well, because I've always found that there's that saying, move in the direction of your fear. So if there's something that's scaring you, then move toward it, because you've got to overcome it, or you can't grow in life. You can't actually find true joy if you don't overcome the things that are holding you back, the fears that are holding you back. So I've always done what scares me. And, of course, once you've done that, you begin to learn that there's really nothing you can't do. And that's the most important lesson for anyone to learn. So even the very first time I performed, first year of high school, in front of the whole school, it was my debut performance. So it was just me and my guitar. And as I was backstage and they were announcing me and I heard my name, I literally thought to myself, run. You can run out the back door and run home, and you don't have to do this. And, of course, I didn't do that, but believe me, the greater part of me wanted to do that more than anything. So they announced my name. I walked out on stage. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it smashing up against my ribs, and my hands were shaking so badly that I could barely chord the guitar. So I sat down in front of the mic and I started to sing a song that I love. It's one by Joni Mitchell. Called Woodstock, gorgeous tune. I got through it somehow, and then there was silence for a moment when I stopped, and then the whole place erupted in remarkable cheering and clapping, and this feeling flooded me at that moment of, again, this pure joy, pure bliss, that I had given something to that audience and they were now giving it back to me, and they loved it and I loved them, and I thought, oh my God, I think this is one of the most extraordinary moments of my life and one of the happiest moments. So there I was, terrified, did it anyway, and the reward was remarkable. And I realized in that moment, this is something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I have to do this. I have to share this and bring joy to other people. So yes, in dealing with fear, just move there, go there, do it. Just do it. You won't die if you're afraid. You're not going to die.
Right.
And I think as long as you remember that and say to yourself, what's the worst can happen? My hands will shake, my heart will pound, I'll sweat, but I won't die, and something great will come of this. Yeah. So that's my advice to anybody trying to do anything.
And I think that's great advice. And I wanted to go along with that, Diana. I wanted to talk to you about failure, because I think that's one of the things that I've noticed, even that I've begin to reassess, especially over the last few years, is I think we use that word about failing and someone's a failure. Has that also been something you've adjusted your idea of what it means as you kind of look at it, less of failing and more of lessons and motivation?
Absolutely. And if you bother to read the biographies of some of the most successful individuals in the world, you will discover that they failed miserably over and over and over again and faced rejection over and over and over again. And as you move forward through that process, and no matter what you choose to do, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to fail on occasion. It's part of the process, and it's something you have to understand. It's sad when people take a kick at the can, try something for the first time, don't have success, and then simply give up and think that if they didn't succeed immediately, it's not going to happen, and that's the biggest lie you can tell yourself. So absolutely, and as you fail, whatever your failure may be, use that as a learning experience. Look deeply into what you were doing and discover where you can make changes or how you can approach people differently if you're trying to convince them of something, whatever the case may be. But just learn from it. I embrace failure as growth opportunities and learning opportunities, because that's precisely what they are. So again, it's just if it's something that you really, really want to do, just keep at it, even if it takes 20 years. Those 20 years are going to go by anyway. So you can either continue to pursue your dream during that time and eventually succeed, or you can give up and lead a mundane life that gives you very little pleasure and then die, which is where we're all headed in the end. So I say live while you're alive and pursue your dreams and don't give up.
Right. Diana, we all have heard the saying, I know it's really big here in the South especially, but I've heard others use it as well, so I'm taking it to be more universal than us Southerners saying it, and that is your gifts will make room for you. And I think, for a lot of people, it's hard for them to believe sometimes, especially if, like myself, you grew up in a small place. You might think, okay, who's going to know me? I'm in Mississippi. Or, some of our audience members, online especially, might have that feeling about wherever they are. Could you have imagined that your gift would open the doors for you and open up the opportunities that it has in your life?
Well, it's what I hoped for, and again, perseverance is the key, and moving in, I said, the direction of your fear, but also in the direction of your joy and your bliss. Very important. And I think once you're on the right path, and, people may say this sounds like spiritual woo-woo. You can call it whatever you want. But in a sense, the universe starts complying with you. It starts giving you opportunities. I think when you move in the wrong direction and you're doing what others want you to do and not necessarily what you want, things don't happen as easily, or opportunities don't present themselves. And I have found, at least in my life and certainly in speaking to other people, that once they start moving in the direction that's true to their own being, wonderful things start happening. You start meeting the right people. Opportunities come up, or you have the inspiration to create your own opportunities. But it's all about this one life that we have and trying to be as happy and fulfilled as we possibly can while we're living it. So it's vital.
Yeah, for sure. One of the ways that you have been able to share with others, Diana, that we all use these days is social media. How has that helped to amplify your voice and your platform and to share your gifts with others?
Well, we're very lucky that we, in the last 20, 30 years, have had this new opportunity, social media, to advertise what it is that we're doing. And, of course, as you know, stars have literally been born on YouTube, which has been great. Back in the day, people had to rely on studios, whether it was recording contracts or Hollywood studios, in order to produce their product and get it out to the world. And things have changed dramatically. Now independent filmmakers are doing great things, and I've been involved with them, thankfully, to a great degree, as well as promoting myself on social media via YouTube and with my own website, which I hope people will check into after the show. So it's a miracle as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And we're going to be letting them know that website, Diana. Again, everyone, Diana Goldman has been our guest. We've been talking with her not only about what it's been like for her to recognize her gifts, and she was able to realize, especially the gift of music early in her life, but also her love of acting as well. And we also talked with her about how she's been able to move forward in her life, even in spite of challenges and difficulties that she has faced, allowing us all to see how we can be able to do the same when it comes to our own challenges and difficulties. So, Diana, you mentioned the website. How can our audience stay connected with you and kind of keep up with what's coming up next for you?
Well, please do go to the website, which is my name, which makes it easy. So it's www.Diana, with one N, so Diana, Goldman, GOLDMAN.com, DianaGoldman.com. Also, my YouTube channel is under my name as well, so you just have to go to YouTube, type in Diana Goldman, and I've got some music videos there, my acting reel, a couple of voice reels. There's also, which turns out to be one of the most popular videos on my channel, is something called Curvy Curling Cougar. which was actually never meant for public consumption. It was an audition piece that I wrote and choreographed and filmed via green screen for a musical stage company in Toronto. They were literally holding a contest and invited people to create something. So I put this thing together and sent it off to them, which was great. It opened the doors in that arena for me as well. But it turns out that people, when they were checking out my YouTube channel, found that, especially people who love curling, who either play it or enjoy watching it, and found it, it's a bit of a comedic, sexy, there's a little bit of faux striptease thing happening in there for anybody that wants to check it out. It's a little bit irreverent, and I had a blast making it, and I'm glad that people are enjoying watching it. But I've also got my other serious music videos on there, and currently working on a new one as we speak that's in production, and that I'll be posting hopefully in about 3 or 4 months from now. Okay. So, yeah, please do check out the website and the YouTube channel so you can hear my stuff.
All right. So DianaGoldman.com, again, is that website. Diana, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate you sharing a bit of your story with us. And it goes without saying, you're welcome back here anytime. I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity as well. I want to thank our mutual friend, Steve Joyner, for helping us to set up this conversation today. I want to thank all of you, our audience, for tuning in for another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late and missed part of the conversation with Diana, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our social media site, so head over to Facebook.com/CyrusWebb or go to Twitter.com/CyrusWebb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share it with your friends from there, too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.